Hello traders, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin's structure and try to identify some levels where we could potentially get involved in the next opportunities. I'll keep it as simple as possible, focusing on the nearest opportunities, and of course, I'll update you if something bigger happens. But for now, let's stick to the local trend. Let's start by taking a look at the weekly chart. Obviously, we've had a nice push to the upside from one of the key support levels we identified earlier, mainly the yearly golden zone and a few other confluences we found at these levels. Now, Bitcoin is coming back into the upper part of the range, making higher lows and higher highs on the weekly intrastructure. This would confirm the continuation of the main weekly structure if we break above these highs and close above them. Now, let's see what we have on the lower time frames and figure out how far Bitcoin can pull back while still maintaining the local trend. There are many potential outcomes, but we can't cover all of them right now, so we'll focus on the local bullish idea and the potential invalidation of that scenario. Let's switch to the 12-hour chart. Here, we can clearly see an uptrend, with higher lows and higher highs forming. As a trader, you have to acknowledge that and look for potential pullback areas where you can get involved in the move. It's also important to work with live data to recognize when you might be wrong about the trend. So, let's focus on the 12-hour and daily timeframes for now. For the 12-hour structure to remain intact, Bitcoin needs to hold the previous swing low on the 12-hour chart. What does this one simple piece of information tell us? It gives us an area of potential support, and also, a clear invalidation for the 12-hour structure. Should this structure break, only then will we look at the next higher time frame, in this case, the daily time frame, to see where we stand. Switching to the daily chart, we see Bitcoin still making higher highs and higher lows on the main structure's uptrend. So, if and only if the 12-hour structure breaks, we would look for a potential daily higher low to form. For me, a potential area would be the daily order block, aligning with the monthly open and the current uptrend trend line. Simple as that. A move to this level would present a few different scenarios, but let's keep it simple and stick to the local potential moves. The context on the local higher time frame is clear. Bitcoin is still in an uptrend, even if it makes a deeper pullback, and we'll deal with that data if and when it happens. Now, let's zoom in a bit more and see if we can find some ideas to keep the 12-hour trend intact, along with identifying the invalidation for this trend. Currently, Bitcoin is making higher lows and higher highs even on the lower time frames, like the 1-hour and 4-hour charts. This means Bitcoin is in an uptrend across all significant time frames. Let's look at the nearest levels and go step by step from here. The nearest level is a 4-hour support level, where Bitcoin could make another higher low and continue the move from there. This is the simplest and most immediate view of the local trend. So, what does this level offer me? Well, it's not a swing trade level, as swing trades typically come from lower levels. A potential swing trade would only come into play if we see a deeper correction, perhaps to the daily higher low level I mentioned earlier. This 4-hour level, however, could give me a scalp trade if the conditions are right. For me, that means looking at order flow, cumulative volume delta, CVD, and of course, low time frame structure to get involved, with invalidation below the previous swing low. I'd only target the next logical low time frame resistance level. If that level gets broken to the upside, I'd keep the trade as a runner. In this case, a scalp trade could turn into a swing trade, but I'll treat it as a scalp initially and secure some profits, as this isn't an area I consider suitable for swing trades. The next step comes if this idea is invalidated, meaning the 1-hour structure breaks to the downside. A break of structure could provide a potential short setup, targeting the next logical support levels, with a clear invalidation at the previous swing high. But keep in mind, it needs to be a structure break on a closing basis because a swing failure pattern, SFP, could occur, and Bitcoin could simply continue to the upside. Even with a structure break, Bitcoin could reclaim the level and continue upward, as all higher time frames are still in an uptrend. This is why it's important to always manage your risk and think carefully about how much you're willing to risk, or whether you want to take the risk at all when going against the higher time frame trend. The best opportunities are usually longs in an uptrend, and one should ignore short ideas until at least the 4-hour or 12-hour structure starts to break bearish. But that's up to you. You can love it or hate it, I'm just sharing what I do. Now, let's continue and consider what could happen if we get a confirmed 1-hour structure break and Bitcoin starts moving downward. In that case, Bitcoin would come into the 4-hour and 12-hour trend retests. These levels could get wicked, and we could still see the continuation of the 4-hour and 12-hour uptrend by forming a new higher low. At that point, I would look for setups on the 1-hour chart for a structure change to get involved, potentially targeting the previous resistance level or letting it run if the level is reclaimed. If we get a bearish structure break on the 4-hour or 12-hour chart, I would also look to get involved at those levels, with invalidation above the previous swing high. I'd also monitor the market for potential invalidations, such as a reclaim of a resistance level or a structure change in the opposite direction on lower time frames, where I might take some profits off the table. A clear invalidation would occur if the target is hit before it gives me a setup with all my entry criteria checked off. The last stage would be a break on the 12-hour chart, which would also invalidate the wave 4 from an Elliott wave perspective. In that case, I'd look to add to my position or get involved in the move down to the lower targets we discussed earlier, such as support and resistance levels, or the monthly open with the daily order block and the local uptrend trend line. Overall, I'm looking for new long opportunities, and I might miss out on a few shorts in this local range. But if I do take a short, I'd treat it as a scalp until at least the 4-hour trend breaks. Alright, traders, I hope this was informative. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to read the disclaimer below the video. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Follow the white rabbit, and I'll see you in the next one, ***.